Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well and you're excited for week 5, right, of college football. And conference play is now fully underway, and it was an exciting week last week. A lot happened in the conference and both out of the conference. So one of the big notable things, real quick before we get into conference play, is the James Madison versus UNC game. That played like a basketball game. 70-50 was the final score. That's just crazy. I didn't watch it, but seeing the stats after was insane. But we'll jump right into the Big 12 games and get to the comment requested games afterwards. And this is the first time I'm currently live streaming this while recording it. So if you want to watch this live, we'll be doing it on Tuesday nights around 8 p.m. Central. Feel free to join. We'll hang out before and after recording the video, and you can request teams to be in the video if you want me to do a little overview of their matchup for the week. You can do it there, or leave them in the comments, so however you want to. So we'll get into it. And the first game in Big 12 play is BYU versus Baylor. I'll give a little recap of all these games this time, at least the ones I know. BYU smoked Kansas State last week. It was embarrassing, and it wasn't so much that, their defense was really good, but it wasn't so much that BYU was like overexerting themselves. Kansas State was just doing so much self-inflicted damage. It was, I think, 6-3 Kansas State with 2 minutes left in the first half, and by the time the half ended, they threw 2 interceptions, or an interception and a fumble, and the half ended 17-6 in 2 minutes, and then the second half didn't start much better at all. They got destroyed. With that being said, Baylor, they lost to Colorado in overtime, and take these off. They lost in overtime, and it was a good game. I'm, as you know, rooting against Colorado, so it was an interesting game. The throws to tie it and in the game were spectacular. Some people could say ref ball, but it was an alright game. Decent game to start the day at 11 a.m. here, BYU and Baylor. As you can see, only a 3-point difference, so Baylor's probably getting 2 points for being the home team, so really just a toss-up. I don't have a preference or bias towards either of these teams. I kind of dislike both of them, so I'd prefer Baylor to win, because Iowa State plays them next weekend, and that'll be a better quality win for us, hopefully. So I'd pick Baylor in this one. Next up, same time, Oklahoma State at Kansas State. So I will actually be at this game. Maybe I'll be in Kansas State for it, whether we're at the game or just hanging out and enjoying some football. But another 11 a.m. game. I'm hoping it's a good game. It's like two fairly topped. They're both AP top 25 ranked, so it should be a decent game. As you can see, 4.5 point favorite for Kansas State. So really a field goal favorite if you take out the home field advantage. But before last week, I would say Kansas State is going to win this game, but the headspace of their quarterback, like I mentioned, when they got slaughtered by BYU, the headspace for their quarterback is questionable. He's only a sophomore. He's not used to these big pressure situations and rowdy, but hopefully with it being the home stadium this time, he's better equipped for it, and he's had time to think about things and work through things this week, because this is another big game. This could decide a tiebreaker later in the season if Oklahoma State and Kansas State are right up there for the conference championship. So I'm picking Kansas State. TCU and Kansas, so moving into the 2:30 slates. TCU had a really close game against Central Florida, lost by 1, I think, and Kansas just blew. What did Kansas do? They played West Virginia. I didn't pay attention to it, as you can tell. Again, another toss-up game. Kansas is getting 2 points probably for the home field advantage, so literally just a 50-50 toss-up. And this is the fun, I think, of Big 12 play is that a lot of the games are going to be close and cutthroat, and it should be a game up until the final few minutes, the last quarter, which is always entertaining football, even if it's a defensive battle and ends 14-17, or if it's 35-35. You don't really know what you're going to get. But, I mean, I don't have a preference. I'd probably take Kansas. This one, not so much of a toss-up game. Colorado, I'm still anti-Colorado, so I don't think it'll be very difficult to root against them in this situation, though. Another 2:30 game. Central Florida is a powerhouse at home. They're really good in their home court and home stadium, I guess. But over a 2-touchdown favorite, even if you take away the home field advantage. High scoring game though, 62.5 point over and under. Should be entertaining. Usually both of these teams kind of sling the ball around, so it'll probably be an offensive battle. Obviously picking UCF. Big game, Iowa State at Houston. Not a huge game, but big game for me. Again, about a touchdown favorite. Utah's getting 1.5 to 2 points is typically what you can err on the side of caution for the home field advantage. So really they'd be like 15-point underdogs in this game if it was a neutral court. And 13-point spread over under 42.5. Iowa State obviously heavy favorite. I think they got what it takes. I mean, they basically beat Arkansas, shut them out, besides a garbage time touchdown. This last week, won 45-7. Iowa State put in their second string people starting in the third quarter, so it was fun to watch them play, but they did well. So I think Cyclones take this one easy, hopefully. Who knows? And jumping an hour to 7 p.m., Cincinnati at Texas Tech. Cincinnati, I think, were the ones that just blew out Houston, literally shut them out. I don't know what the score was exactly, but I forgot what Texas Tech did. I just looked them up. Apologies. Slight favorites. Again, another toss-up. Texas Tech at home. I'm going to take the Red Raiders. I always pick them as my dark horse for the season, and they always disappoint me, but I'm going to hope, almost a 60-point over-under, so again, another high-scoring game. Hopefully it's a good game. Last game for the Big 12, late-night game, Arizona at Utah. Utah's probably, all these teams that are supposed to be the best team in the conference have been having struggles, so there's no real definitive best team in the conference, but if Utah's quarterback still fully functional, then I'd say they're definitely the best team in the conference. But Arizona's decent. They're not bad, but they're not Utah level. Up top, there's Utah and Oklahoma State and Kansas State, which after this past week can vary heavily, depending on who you ask. But before last week, that's what the standings were. There were those three, and then probably Iowa State and BYU, maybe one other team, and then everybody else. So there were like 3 distinct regions at least. But again, the first half of the day was very close games, and the second half of the day, minus the last game we just looked at, are kind of more not blowout type games, but higher spread. I mean, they have a chance. Arizona could very much beat Utah. But now getting into the comment requested games, we have 3 of them, and there's not much to talk about. All 3 of them are kind of blowout games. Obviously, when you're playing Ohio State, you're not going to have a good time. Michigan State is over a 3-score underdog, even at home, so probably 3 touchdowns worth when everything's said and done. And Ohio State just ran over Akron, which is not a huge accomplishment, but still, they're coming off of a blowout, and they can keep rolling. Everybody knows Ohio State. Mississippi State at Texas, again, even bigger blowout. Last week I said I hope Texas has a more entertaining game this week. They do not. It's just about as big of a spread this week as it was last week, so And then USC, a little closer of a game than the last two, only 2 touchdowns. I mean, at least in this one, they're favored, unlike Michigan State. But I like Wisconsin. I root for Wisconsin. I have friends that went and go to Wisconsin, so I like watching them. But I'm not sure if their quarterback is back healthy. I know he went out right away in the Alabama game. I haven't been keeping up with them at all. But if he's not in, they didn't look very good. So I don't have high hopes for them. I think USC will be fine in this game. A 2:30 game. I forgot when the other games were. I didn't mention the time. But those are the main games. So back to the big game screen, all the games. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this kind of overview. I'm going to try to do more of the recap on what happened last week, and like as I go through the matchups. So hopefully interesting stuff happens. At least this past week, mostly interesting stuff happened, so there's stuff to talk about. But I will say this week there are good games at pretty much every time slot. Like if you're a Big Ten, I don't know if this game will be too important, but for the Big 12 at least, there's games at every time slot. And then of course the game of the week that every sports station has been pushing is down here. I think it's 6 p.m. It's Alabama and Georgia. So 6:30. Georgia's 2, Alabama's 4 in the country. And I mean, I don't care too much for the SEC or either of these teams. I fairly dislike both of them, but I think it will be good football. Like this will probably be one of the top matchups of the year. So it should be good to watch, especially as you're eating dinner or you're winding down the day at 6:30. It's a good day, or it's a good game to end your day with. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and let me know what games you get up to watching this week, and what games and matchups and teams you want to see in these videos in the future. So thanks for coming around, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.